Morning all, or afternoon as we are now. How's everyone doing? Are we ready for this? We've probably got half an hour, I would estimate, before we get into it, but we can, hopefully you've got lunch. I've also got two of my team here. There'll be a few of them coming in and out as we go, I think, as we go. Can see Adam's here. Good to see you, Adam. Yeah, I've seen the OBR of leaked a document early, because in front of us, we can't run it on stream because of the copyright problems, but we've got the budget in front of us, and I can see they're running it early. Oh, good to see you, Toby. Hope you're keeping well, mate. It does look like it's a bit in the Starship, I'll give you that, yeah. This is actually a bit of behind the scenes action. This is a meeting room that's in the back of our office that we use to record various things. If you ever see me on the podcast these days, this is the angle we use, but you might see random people come in and out. We've got half the team in the front office in front of a big team, and then we've got these guys in the back. Although I have realized that thanks to the magic that is camera, can I get your heads in focus? There we go. You can't quite get it in there.
Okay, not to be a focus.
The background blurred, but yeah, this is Becky, one of our accountants, who some of you will know and have seen on content before. And this is Bo, who's part of our marketing and sales team, who's popped in as well. And there'll be various other people popping in as we go. Yeah, and so I mean, interestingly, we've seen the rumours in the week. The rumours in the months that have built up. But we also have had now the minimum wages, which has been really, really interesting. And I think from a small business point of view, it will be one of the overarching issues that will come is, again, a big hike. I'm particularly concerned with the hike to the 18 to 20 bracket. I don't know if you've seen that. So it's jumped to 8.5%, another 8.5%. So it's now up to 1085 for an 18 to 20 year old. And whilst I'm sure there's no challenges there in terms of people are more than happy to pay that, as a small business, it becomes quite difficult to do. And I think what shouldn't be underestimated is the jump that that's had. So if we went back to the start of 2024, that rate was only £7.49. So that means that the rate has increased nearly 45% since, it changed in April 24, but at the beginning of 24, so those first 3 months, it was only 7.49, so nearly 45% rise in the 2 years on that rate. And it makes it quite a challenge. I mean, we're certainly seeing out in the market and listening to our clients that people are really having to consider whether they can employ at that level. You are right, Adam. I don't think there is a money tree. If only there was. Now they have moved as well. I'm half listening. If you wonder why I stopped throughout this, it's because I'm half listening to what's actually happening at the moment. But because they're in PMQs, we don't have to listen too heavy. But the over 21 rate for living wage has gone up again. It's only 4%, but it's still pretty chunky. That's 50p an hour. And again, it's never the bottom end that's the problem. If you've heard me talk on this subject before, what we see at ground level is it's the add-on effects that happen. So you end up with somebody now who's a clear 50p difference. So maybe they're on, I don't know, £13 something, but that clear 50p difference. And now the 50p, the more they were on, has been completely eroded or made a lot smaller. So you have to adjust all of the bands above it. And of course, we're in this world now where employers' contributions to the bit that the employer pays on top is now a 15%, and you only get the first £5,000 of their wages free before that gets put in. So it's a big old cost. So anything that's added on top of this now has additional costs. So yeah, it's quite big. So you're looking at something like, again, if you go back to the beginning of 2024, that rate was £10.42, and we had a different world of national insurance. So the cost now is nearly £6,000 a year more for somebody on minimum wage doing about 36.5 hours a week than it was then. So for the average small business, that's £500 a month roughly per person. It's costing more now than it was going back 2 years ago, which is absolutely mad, because prices obviously haven't moved that way. And you find that the retail sector will be talking about this as well. They employ a lot of people in those zones, and particularly a lot of young people. And 45% extra cost on a young person between 18 and 20, and then it's circa 22% on somebody over 21 in those couple of years. The prices, it's not surprised to see food prices and everything else going up, isn't it? And inflation moving. So really interesting space there. So I wasn't too happy to see that. I feel from a small business level, we need to be being very careful about what we're doing. And it's not that they're, We've seen 1 year now. This has been repeated years. You think about it, the 18 to 20 in 2024 went up 14.8%. Then in 2025, it went up 16.3. So this is a relatively tame rise at only 8%, but it's having a real compound effect. Is any of you guys feel like you're impacted in this in the chat? I don't know how many of you have Teams, but it's pretty pricey. This isn't alcohol. It could be, because I understand that the Chancellor can drink. They're one of the only people. Is that right? You guys heard that? No. Yeah, I think they're one of the only ones that's allowed to drink during their speech. That's one of those budget facts. But yeah, it's energy drink. I said I wouldn't drink, but it does taste good. It's like standing in a bucket, raising yourself, lifting the handles. Can see that. It's also the worst day ever for me to continue to have a cold. Trying to record content over the last 6 weeks. Becky's laughing because she just thinks I moan about it constantly, but I don't like man flu. Don't like man flu, so I apologize in advance for coughs, sniffs, or otherwise. Yeah, that's it, Toby. I don't think, the milkshake's a good idea, right? We're about to find out. I saw the best LinkedIn headline somebody put, though. I don't think I can find it now, but it was something like Rachel Reeves milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. It was absolute genius.
In the budget as well, like lattes and stuff. Pre-packaged. Yeah, pre-packaged ones.
Yeah, you guys probably can't hear, but the team are discussing whether we're going to get latte taxes as well.
Like the pre-made stuff.
Hey Chris, good to see you. I do see your name popping up in the comments across the content, so good to see you in here as well. Are you hoping for anything particular today, Chris, or not? Is there any hopes? Something you're hoping not to see? And while Chris is thinking about that, Toby, you seen anything? So Toby has a great YouTube channel himself, which feel free to plug, by the way, because it's the stuff we can't talk about. It's about investing and the like. But is there anything particularly that you're concerned about? Yes, Jonathan, we are with you on that one. Considering we spent, I know Becky here, I keep looking the wrong way because it's mirrored, but Becky here has spent the morning in meetings with clients talking about tax planning and dividends. And if they were suddenly 16.5%, like they were rumored the think tank wanted them, it would make a lot of people cry, I think. Yeah, that's interesting. So the OBR, let's see if we can find that while we're here. This is our first YouTube live, so I'm not entirely sure what we can do and what we can't on here, but we'll give it a go. If we get cancelled, at least it won't be because of our politics or something. OBR budget. Yeah, the ISA cut does seem to be being rumored, doesn't it, Toby? Actually, I've seen that several times. It seems like that's a good one. It's been a weird budget period, actually, because normally the rumors that come out end up being true, give or take. This time, though, there's been so many apparent U-turns in the rumors that it does make you wonder how that's going to go. Jonathan, love that. Yeah, cycle to work schemes are pretty good. People do like their bikes at the moment. We've got several clients in the cycling space, and it always surprises me how much money people spend on bikes. Yes, Shorty, exactly. How bad does it have to get that you have to get accountants want to come on and do a reaction video live? Although actually, going back in time on the YouTube, the reason we started the channel back in 2020, I want to say, was to get information out to people about COVID grants and the like. So it kind of goes full circle, I guess. I'd rather be talking about all the positive changes that the government are doing and how this would impact and all these cool things that are coming. And actually, there used to be, going back some years ago, probably a lot of years ago now, it used to feel like that a bit. Like when they first introduced employment allowance that allowed you to cut your employer's national insurance bill, or when they did things to business rates, or when they made changes, it was quite good. But then successively, probably for more than a decade, it's felt the opposite. It's like, because if you guys cast your mind back, many of you probably know this, you had dividend tax, which we currently pay. So that if we drew like a tax stack, your first 50 odd K, if you have any dividends in there, they're about 8.75% at the moment. But going back, where they used to be in that basic rate of tax. The limit wasn't quite as high as 50k, but that used to be 0% on dividends. And now we're having think tanks talk about 16.5%. It's been very, very different world. Yeah, I mean, I think the VAT threshold, Jonathan, is scary. It's scary because the problem we have is that we've got making tax digital for sole traders coming in on top of that. So what worries me about that is there's a competitive problem with having such a high VAT threshold. In my view, we see it a lot. It's a real cliff edge. You get to people, it's 90k threshold, for those of you who don't know, is when you have to hit the VAT registration threshold. And when you hit that, you have to go registered. That causes a pricing problem, particularly if you're dealing with the public. But it's quite like a large amount for many startups. And when you get there, it's like this massive hassle. But it's high enough that you could, in theory, spend your life trying to just be under it if you're going for a real lifestyle business. I think as that limit doesn't move very often, it drags more people into it. But if it was something like 30,000, like it was going to be rumored, that's a real low level. So you'd argue could increase and level the playing field. So you don't have somebody around the corner who can do it a lot cheaper than you, just because they don't have to pay VAT. But the admin on a small business is massive with that. It really is. So it does worry me. And I think that a lot of small businesses just getting off the ground have got a lot to deal with at the minute. And adding more either cost or risk is quite difficult. On top of that, VAT is definitely one of the more complicated taxes that are out there. You guys agree with that, right?
Yeah,
we're saying VAT?
Absolutely.
Yeah, VAT is one that we see the most investigations on, the most people trip up on, because nobody teaches you this stuff. Like, how are you meant to know? And ChatGPT is not yet good enough to really give you the right answer where a lot of that's concerned, although it's doing a lot better with the research now. So yeah, but on top of that, you're going to now have to report if you're doing a turnover of say £90,000, so you go VAT registered, you've got quarterly returns to do to the revenue for the VAT. You've also got what will be quarterly returns for your income tax. And again, once you're in the zone, it's probably going to be okay, but trying to remember, because you might have different quarters for both as well. So trying to remember when to click the button in each quarter or pay your accountant. There's always that, but it's more cost. It's going to be difficult. So yeah, that one is a concern. So just reading the chat, I can't tell you about investment advice. You're probably better off talking to Toby, who's in the chat, because he'd probably be the man to talk to about it. And there's actually, I think we've got financial advisors and other people that can talk about investments. Sadly, us mere accountants, it's regulated financial advice. And although we talk about financial stuff all day long about businesses, can't tell you whether it's a good idea or not to do with your money, unfortunately. Sure. So the MTD thing is interesting. So that's making tax digital, mainly with income tax. So we've had it around for VAT for many, many years. So many. It feels like that. How long do you reckon? I mean, we'd be able to look it up, but it feels like forever, doesn't it? Now it's something we do every day. Digital VAT returns. Back in the old days, you used to have like a few boxes on a bit of paper you'd send, and you put it in an envelope. But so the digital, it was pretty straightforward. The biggest challenge for small businesses who are going to get hit from making tax digital is that many people just don't hold their records digitally. If we look at our own client base, we've got taxi drivers, hairdressers, people who it's a real struggle in there, and they'd admit this, to get them just to write down what they took in a day, particularly if it's a cash-based business, in a book. Them now having to figure out how they're going to keep that digitally and get that online and then get that set up so they can submit it is either going to be a cost for them to pay us to do it, or a cost for us to help them do some of it or train them to do some of it, or a load of time, which is a cost anyway to them. So it's really, really difficult at the moment. I think once you're in it, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal, actually. But there are plenty of people, I would argue, don't need to be in it. And the one thing that I've found over the years of being in kind of the money in the business world is that economists constantly talk about the productivity problem we have. I remember one of the first accountancy conferences I went to, and there was an economist there telling us about how the economy was so bad in terms of our productivity, and it still has never changed. So to me, adding more admin to the entrepreneurs and the small businesses of the world and those in the gig economy, as it's now sort of coined, is not great. So it does have some benefits, but I just think that I don't know, maybe the limit needs to be higher. I mean, bringing it into people, particularly that second year, where if you do 30,000 turnover, you're brought into it, it's going to be really hard. Yeah, Adam, the EV is interesting because I don't think they're likely to extend what is currently out there. So we did a YouTube video on this, actually not a very successful one. So if anybody does want to watch it and help our retention figures, that would be great. But we did a video talking about EVs recently because they're the best tax relief for it at the moment is new and unused electric, because you can get the full cost of that vehicle can come off in 1 year, in the year that you bought it. Depending on how you buy it, this is as with all tax, there's lots of caveats, but in theory, if you bought it, and buying could be with a proper loan or a hire purchase, and you manage to take delivery of it before March next year, the chances are you can claim the full cost of that vehicle. You knock it off your profits, it's going to have a massive impact on your tax bill. But that relief finishes on the 31st of March 26 at the moment. It doesn't look like it's going to be extended. So, and I don't, from all the rumours, I can't see that they'd want to be putting more money into that, but we should find out. Scotch and socks. Is that you, Ben? No, different one. Cool. So what are the biggest predictions? I actually think it's going to be pretty boring. I've decided. Like we spent Becky's saying wishful thinking. I feel like it will be. The Financial Times was calling it a smorgasbord. Is that the word? Smorgasbord. Yeah, smorgasbord. Someone who can pronounce words. I'm better with numbers than words will tell me. But I think there'll just be a load of different raises across lots of different things. I'm hoping that it will be boring, because if there's anything too detrimental, it's going to be a problem. Because I do think business is tough right now for a lot of small business owners. We work with well over 1,000 small businesses, and if you look at the data and some of the challenges they're all encountering similar things. The biggest thing I'm hoping from all of this is that we don't have this period of not knowing. At least when we know, we can then do something about it. It's the not knowing that's certainly been the problem at the moment. Yeah, Jonathan, that's a good example. You're a great example of that. You want to stick under 90,000 limit on your business. Is that mainly? You can let me know in the chat if you want. I'm just interested as to why. Is it just because you don't want to deal with the VAT? Just want to keep it nice and easy? Because I always think that's the interesting thing about VAT is the worst thing to be at is 89,000, I think, and bouncing off that limit. I did a reel on, I think it was TikTok or something similar the other day, showing these two lines of how people often try and manage that and get it wrong, and they end up tipping up into the next bracket. I think actually if someone's on YouTube, the reels, we uploaded it to YouTube as well, just showing the example of how easy it is when you're trying to manage just below that 90. Yeah, but what Adam says, I think that's most people's approach is you either want to just cruise past it and go, I'm going big, let's go, don't worry about the 90K, or you want to stick under it. I think the biggest problem is actually when you're dealing with the public. It's that business to consumer where it's not very easy to change your pricing. Whereas, if one of you guys did something for our business, we're VAT registered, of course, so we're going to recover the VAT. It's not going to cost us a problem. But it's when you're out there with the public. I think it's probably a myth that you would need to adjust fully 20% extra on your price for most people, because you can work the maths out. It's not quite 20% because you will probably recover some of the VAT that you're being charged, but it's still a big impact. And then you've got the hassle, and this is the biggest one. You've got the hassle of, as we said, the actual VAT itself, administering it, submitting those returns, having the knowledge to know, is this the right VAT or not? And then risking the penalties. And oddly, they seem to be the one arm of HMRC that have got the biggest amount of people that want to investigate you. I mean, that's definitely a thing, isn't it, Becky? That's you see more VAT investigations than anything else, right?
I've got 3 on the go at the moment.
3 on the go at the moment. Yeah. There we go.
Most I've had it one hit at one time.
Yeah. Johnny, good to see you. You are right. Yeah, we were saying about the OBR. I was going to bring it up on stream, but I've been rambling. So by the time I finish rambling, it might actually be the actual budget. I've got it in one ear. Now, but we do like to try and do this as if we don't know. That would be cool. I want to be surprised. It always winds me up that my wife does this. We watch TV programs and she's on, like, is it Digital Spy? Is that what it is? That's
used to be. I don't know if it's
other websites are available, but there was a website where you could get all the spoilers on it. She'd already have all the spoilers. So it's a bit like that with a budget. I want to hear it. Yep, just reading some of the comments. Yeah, using Xero. I think Xero is the most user-friendly one in my personal opinion. But we do quite like things like QuickBooks. If I said free agent, one of those is going to pull a face probably, but free agent's quite good as well. QuickBooks is good, but it takes quite a lot to get used to using QuickBooks. I think all of them take a bit of time to get used to, but it's cool that once you got using it, that it worked out for you. Yeah, Scotch and stocks, you're right on the capital gains front, actually. I was talking to a client about this yesterday. They were talking about what they should or shouldn't do. And so much is dependent on today if they changed anything. Yeah, Jonathan, I can see that. If you're working with the public, that 20% can be a pain to work with. Although I often, in practice, I think we often find that people are more scared about putting their prices up than they need to be. Generally, they find if you do a good service, you having to increase your prices because of VAT, even if it's not full 20%, it's far less scary in practice than it might seem. I think it's the one area that we consistently see good results with clients on is when they actually adjust their prices. And a lot of time it's just confidence in doing it. I mean, you can do what I call the comfort maths of working out, if I lost 10% of my clients by upping my price 15%, what would happen? And you can see most of the time you're actually making the same money for doing, or more money for doing less work. Not that everybody wants to do that. Of course, I don't think anybody wants to put their prices up. Everyone likes to feel like they're competitive and value for money. But sometimes, particularly in the current environment, for those just joining now, I was talking about the national minimum wage increases at the start. And if we've got 18 to 20-year-olds that over 2 years the costs have gone up 45%, you're likely, if you're a service-based business having those people, you're going to have moved your pricing. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. Free agent is the best for contractors. I think that is actually where they would like to position it. Becky's smiling. Did you disagree with that one, do you, Becky?
I have no comment.
No? Okay. She maybe is not a fan, but one of her team, who is, I think, joining us in a bit, absolutely loves Free Agent.
She does love Free Agent, yeah.
I actually don't think it's too bad. I compared 7 of them. Spent quite a bit of time looking at 7 of them, potentially for a video the other day. And I don't mind Free Agent. I think it's all right.
Yeah, it probably is right contract.
Oh, look at that. There's a VT fan in the chat, Becky.
I saw that. Yeah.
VT. We haven't seen that for a while. We still love a bit of VT. You don't see it very often these days. For anybody who doesn't know, that's so like an Excel plugin is probably the best way to describe it. It's bigger than that, but it's pretty good. Do I think the changes will be immediate or next tax year? I think the chances of us being able to react to them are minimal these days. There was a time where you'd do this, particularly when there was 2 a year, and you'd have time to react. But the amount of times they come out now and publicly just tell you, oh, by the way, it's at midnight tonight, and nobody gets any time to change. So I suspect not, but it depends how big those changes are. I'm trying not to cheat and look at the fact that my iPad is telling me the headlines of the OBR's leaked budget by telling you this, but don't go and watch it. We can watch it together. No, full-time investor and software is actually a real problem, I think. We've talked about this a lot. It is a real problem. I don't think anyone really builds it. They're all built for small businesses, which in our world is great because that's what we deal with. But yeah, I do feel you a bit as an investor. I suspect someone will come up with something. Excel, yeah. Look, you're talking to a room full of accountants. We like a bit of Excel. Officially, the speech should be in about 6 odd minutes. I would have thought they normally come on. They did catch us out though. Was it the famous Liz Truss budget? I can't remember. Someone did it at 9:30 once, and every year we gather. I mean, we're gathered here in one of the back offices just watching it, but in the front office we've got a load of the other team watching it. So we always gather, and I remember coming in that day, we were like, oh, we get the food in, and I think in here we're what have we got in here? Crisps in a bowl, probably. Yeah, we haven't done very well. But we gather, and that year we came in and it was done. It was all over. Nothing to do. If the dividend basic rate goes to 12.75, would it still be the best way? I think it would get really close. I think the thing that is the biggest problem with dividend taxation is because we're all used to it now as business owners, is what it would do to your cash flow. Because if mathematically it become better to put yourself on salary, you have to part with the tax and the national insurance every single month. And that's really I don't want to say dangerous because it depends how successful and solid your business is. But for a lot of people in the small business world, in startups, I mean, even established business like ours, we've got 40 odd employees, we're an established business. I wouldn't want to be paying that extra cash out every month. I think it's better to be able to do it later. But the answer would be, we would do the numbers. Of course we would. And surprise, surprise, there might be a video on it as well. I think you should do a video on changing accountants. Do you know what? We actually had one. It's unlisted at the moment. We've gone through and unlisted about 40 videos that just old and out of date. And I thought about redoing that, but I was worried no one would watch it. And it's really difficult because I'm going to be biased. Let's face it. I run an accountancy business, and but there certainly could be some things we could talk about in terms of the mechanics, because a lot of the time it's a lot easier to change accountants than you might think. So yeah, I'd say it's on the list whether we end up doing it or not. In terms of timing, I think it's just a case of if you're running payroll and you're running VAT, I think it's trying to pick a period where you've got the maximum amount of time before you need to do those things next. So if you just finished a VAT period, for example, it's probably a good time to do it. But a lot comes down to the commercial arrangement with your accountant. If you're paying them as the year goes on, you might find you've already committed some money to them that's not refundable. So you might tend to stay to the year end. I was talking to somebody this morning on Instagram, I think, about this, and it's a similar example there. They know they really need to stay till July next year, but they're not happy, and it might just be a good time for them to move. Lotus 123, Michelle. Yes, I do remember that. I feel like it wasn't that long ago that a client of ours was still trying to use that. It looks like you're not alone either. Adam, to answer that question, Bo is one of our people that could tell you that, but her and her colleagues, we have got prices and packaging, of course. It's just they're not on a website. It's more of a case of we want to chat to you, see what you need, and just show you it, because the problem with pricing is half the time people who are talking about it don't know what they don't know, if you see what I mean. So we like to kind of really just understand where people's goals are and what they actually want and try and tailor something for you. But yeah, so if you're ever interested, there's a link in about every video that we ever put out. You can book in. We'd love to talk to you. But if there is demand for that kind of video, we will definitely do it. We have got a few minutes, so yeah, ask away. Luke, see us with a few minutes. Oh, look, Becky, you're not going to be happy about this. People love the free agent.
I know.
So look, the thing I would say is free agent's all right. If I had to rank them right now, and this is a spoiler video, if I had to rank them right now, I would have Xero at the top, QuickBooks second, and free agent third. But there's a big but. If you've not got a lot of time to commit to getting to use them, you could argue that free agent's slightly better than QuickBooks. People internally might shout at me about that, because honestly, in the office, there's not. There's a division. Yeah, Becky's right. There's a division for that, but it's actually not a bad product. If they sorted out a couple of things that really irritate us as accountants, it would be a really good thing, and it's free if you've got those metal accounts. And I'd rather you were in a cloud product than weren't at all. So that's where I am. There are other ones available, just not there. And if you do want to trial Xero, if you go to healandassociates.co.uk/Xero, there's a really good deal on at the moment for that. So I think at the time recording this, it's about 95% off for 6 months. So play around with it. I'd hope to say you would never look back. Yeah, newbie. I think if that's about accountants, you're 100% right. I don't envy it. So for those of you who don't know my backstory, before being an accountant, I was self-employed first, and it's very difficult to know what the difference between two people is. I had a new client who came on with us, and she did an amazing piece of research. She probably did 7 different accountants, quite a lot of the internet present ones, and she sent me all of the different pricing and packaging that she pulled from everybody. And I tell you what, it's a vast difference. It really is. And we see it in our own comments. You'll talk to people and they'll not be happy they're paying £25 a month, and you've got ones that are paying £2,000 a month, and they're really happy. So it really is down to what you want from your accountant, I think, and what you're hoping to get. But it is so difficult to compare. So difficult. We should see any moment. I was just looking at the thing. It should be starting soon, hopefully. So I hope you're all ready. Got your snacks and your lunch ready. And again, I apologise for my voice and the fact that I'm randomly blowing my nose on stream. Not my finest moment, but I don't know if you're all encountering this. Everybody you talk to them, it seems to be ill at some point. Scotch is paying $750 a year. Wow, bargain. Depending on what that is, of course. For all I know, that's a single tax return and you're getting scammed. But yeah, I'm joking. Even then, it might be completely fine. Oh, a lot of free agent fans in here. Becky, I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah. William, I can't actually argue with you. I think all jokes aside, free agent in the right circumstances is quite cool. But I would rather you be on Xero. But...
Is there any Xero fans out there?
Oh yeah, Becky wants to know if we actually got any Xero. I know there was in the chat earlier. If we've got any Xero fans that are using it and like it, I think she feels sad to see that there's not more. There's not more. Scrambled eggs, Toby. Don't know about that. I suppose the protein's good. There's a few of them in here that do that, but it stinks the place out. If the dividend tax goes up, would I be better off going sole trader? Do you know what? It's close at the moment. I could show you an example where if I showed you £40,000 income up either side, oh, we might be going in. Oh, we're going in. We're going in. I'm convinced the OBR are trying to get themselves sacked these days. Oh, this might not be as I thought we were going in. We might not be going in yet. We're trying to find out about why the OBR leaked. Okay, let's just answer a few more then while we're waiting. So, a couple of Zero fans in there. That's cool. Yeah, look, the pricing has been a problem. It has been a problem. I think it's just because it's jumped. But actually, I think I said earlier, I did a review of 7 different softwares in the accounting space recently. And if you look at the pricing, it's actually really similar for what you get. It's just there's so many different plans, it's hard to compare them. But if you actually compare them, there's not a lot between them. It comes down to your use case a lot of the time, and if you can get a discount or it free. So, for example, like if you're on mobile all the time, you might look at QuickBooks because it's probably the best feature-packed mobile app. But most people don't do it on mobile. So then you're back to, for me and the feedback we see, Xero gets the best feedback from users. And I know internally it's definitely the favorite. So, but Free Agent, if you're in Metal, NatWest, Bank of Scotland, those kind of, you're getting it for free as well. And you've got very simple contractor style affairs. It's good. Day trading, I will leave that one. It's not an area I like to speak to a lot of the time. Oh, hopefully we're coming in, peeps. No, Nomad, you're right on there. But I thought that about Xero and mobile. But then if you actually compare pretty much every other app, it's very similar, actually. Very similar in terms of functionality. It's almost like I feel that app developers have just copied the app from somebody else and put their own logos on it. But QuickBooks is slightly different there. Oh, we're joined by Ella. Ella, welcome to the stream.
Ella's the Free Agent fan.
Oh, yeah, you've missed this, Ella. So Ella, who's that way,
okay,
is a big Free Agent fan. Yeah.
I do like Free Agent.
Yeah. Oh, look, hold on. Let's do that. Let you guys are in focus then. Come on. The speech is ready now. Are we excited? Are we excited? I didn't think we were going to turn the chat into day trading. Should have put a filter on. Is that a thing? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I actually thought, do you know what, Eva? I actually thought her outfit was really cool. So, a side note, we're
like a bus driver. Sorry, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I actually thought her outfit was quite cool. We were talking about this in the office earlier. We're quite largely female dominated as a business. And I was talking about how much I haven't got a clue about women's fashion, though. So shoulder pads are in, I've been told. Okay, we should be. I don't know how far the street our data is, but it sounds like they might actually be talking in a minute.
There we go.
I reckon I'm behind. These guys are telling me they're ready. But oh, Chancellor's here. Let's go. Let's go. And thanks, Adam, for the kind words, as always. Yeah. And if you're wondering where we're watching it, we're also, although there are other players available, we are also using our TV license to watch on here. Unfortunately, you can't on YouTube. You can't stream it, so you probably can find it on YouTube on their main channels, I would have thought. I always wonder what it would be like to be sitting behind the Chancellor during this speech, though. I'd be worried everybody was looking at me. Although I think that I'd also have my forehead looking that shiny as well. in that front, in all honesty. Yeah. I think everyone would agree that we want a decent NHS. I don't think there's any argument there. If governments did get out of the way, sometimes it would help. But I do think that we need them, right? We need them, I think, to a degree. Are you joking? Are you laughing about balancing the books there, Becky?
No, not a comment in the bottom. This is much more entertaining.
Yeah. Thanks, chat. You guys have been highly entertaining to the crew. I agree with that. She says that economic growth is key. It is. And she says that it supports wage growth. It's interesting to see that we've been forced, our hands being forced there, though. There is a lot heckling. There is a lot heckling. And it's not us either. It's not us yet. Do you think it makes for good entertainment, though, doesn't it? I think it'd be quite a cool thing to be in the house when this is going on. Ooh, go Rachel. Come on, we've got to do a bit of support here. I feel she's been beaten up for a while now. We'll find out. Big call, big call. Yeah, Adam, I agree. I think there's some big calls in here. Big calls in here. I can never work out whether they do this purely for the sound bites later. Like, if they did pull it off, they're like, yes, I told you we would. We just don't talk about the bits we said we would do, and we didn't. Not sure she should be mentioning reform during her speech, but still. Whether that's what they're giggling about. You can never tell, can you, from here? It's tough to break into new markets when we've got a VAT problem cross-border these days. Anybody remembers the golden days of EU VAT not being near an issue where it is now? I can't tell you the chaos that post-Brexit VAT was. It's still a real challenge for small business right now. Whether you agree with the various political points or not, I'll say operationally, very difficult. Toby, I think
where's the lunch?
No.
there you go. Sorry, in this room there is some crisps. We put no expense spared.
One whole bowl of crisps. I've been munching on them.
Yeah, there you go. I thought of you, Ella. Ella loves free food. Yeah, Essex. I would have loved to, but apparently our stream will get shut down if we do it because it's copyrighted, which is a pain.
I agree with some of these comments about the free lunch.
In the old days, we used to get Domino's in for it, but Domino's for 40 odd people is expensive. Sorry, we're accountants. We like to make sure it's a good investment. Although for those of you ordering it in, you could look at subsidised canteen as a potential tax deduction for that, or trivial benefit if you come across those rules. Yeah, newbie. That's why we randomly chat over half of this, because it's you can half listen to it. Domino's is expensive. 2 for Tuesdays. Walk in and collect. The chat knows. Side note, I've had too many Domino's recently.
I really want a Domino's now.
Yeah. I was vegan for 8 years and now I'm not. And the meat has been injecting itself back into me at vast rate of knots. Well, yeah, it has been particularly noisy, actually. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think blaming the other party gets boring after a while. I was like, we know. We know. Yeah. Just tell us what you're going to do. Oh, entrepreneurs. We do want those jobs here. I agree there. Okay. Okay, so they're effectively... Okay. So they're an interesting one. So the EMI she's talking about is when you want to give some of your team shares. There's a tax scheme that you can use. Sounds complicated, but it's actually quite costly to set up. But it's quite good if you want to give your key employees shares, if you can deal with the practical side of it. The VCT thing she's talking about and the other things, they're like an investment relief effectively when you're trying to raise money. Be interesting to see the details of that. There's certainly some people in our chat that may or may not agree with that. Okay. Yep. Do we trust the banks to guide you to where to put your money? I'm sure on that. Oh, here we go. Corporation tax. Okay. Corporation tax rates stay in. That got really skipped over. Gonna need to see the detail on that, because that sounds like that's a bad thing. That'd be interesting. So they're talking about writing down allowances is when you buy a big piece of equipment and you can't claim the whole cost for some reason. You're allowed a percentage a year. That's interesting. See if we can find any more details on that while she's talking. What happens after the budget is they release this big document and we spend hours poring over it to find the detail, because so much of the good stuff's in the detail. Yeah, the budget document is always a good read. You find a lot of things like what they're doing with HMRC, how much money they're going to give them to do certain things. It's a good one. Wow, this is feeling like the stable budget at the moment. Corporation tax not rising was important. I was pleased to hear that. Wasn't quite a manifesto pledge, but it was difficult if you've published a corporate roadmap telling people you weren't going to change it to go back and change it. So they appear to be keeping that. So that's good news. We haven't yet got to the income tax, though, have we yet? So we shall see. Portsmouth. Sorry, we're local to Portsmouth. AI gets a mention. That should have been on a bingo card. Come on. Had to be on a bingo card. Shot for AI, yeah. Only one so far. Drink responsibly. That WDA thing she's mentioned is going to bug me now until I see the documents. So I want to see what's happening. Adam, I don't know if she's going to actually use the words fiscal drag. That's like admitting there's a problem, right? I'm interested to see how they spin that one, though. It's always nice to hear the phrasing they use. I wonder who's getting sacked at the OBR. That'd be the next thing, right? I want to see it. I've got to stay off Twitter. I'm already reading ahead of the budget. Could be scary. Oh, sass, Rachel, sash. We love a bit of sass in the house. Thanks. Who'd have a cold on the day they're on YouTube? AI shots. This isn't alcohol. We're just going to pretend, but yeah. We should have done a bingo card. Put that in for next year. Bingo card.
Yeah.
What else would be on the bingo card? AI, Conservatives, obviously.
Yeah, Tories.
Brexit, definitely. What else would we have on there? We haven't done the war. Forgot about that. We haven't had that one yet.
Oh, yeah.
The war. Electricity prices. Oh, we haven't got to electricity prices yet, right? So.
No.
Jobs, yeah, jobs should be on the bingo card. Yeah, no doubt. Growth, prosperity, yeah. I like this. This could be the next time. If they ever go back to doing these twice a year, they say they won't, but we shall see. Could definitely be a thing. Especially with Becky here. She's a known like enjoys it. I was trying to work out a term I can use on the internet, but yeah, a known bingo player. There's been a few of those over the years for sure. Back in the early stages when we were all in our 30s. I had more hair then as well. Somebody did actually point out on a video this week. They obviously haven't tuned in for ages. They said, "What happened to your hair?" I was like,
watching for a while.
"Ooh, sass." Oh, drink. Conservative cuts and damage. That would be one. Milk, of course, milk. Spare change. We still haven't seen the income tax. It's worrying me, people. It's worrying me. Oh, tax receipts. Okay, so into budget deficits. Yeah, other suggestions for the bingo card. I think small businesses could be a thing. It's normally paired up with something like backbone. They're the backbone of our economy. Somebody did comment on a YouTube video recently with a serious question saying, seriously, what do small businesses bring to the economy? I just haven't had the chance to reply yet because I can't put it into words. I've never capped out a comment. I don't know how many, what the type of limit is on a YouTube comment. Yeah, Toby, I feel like the income tax is going to be scary. We're going to find out. Okay, so we're still on a once a year budget at the moment by the sounds of it. Oh, productivity. That's definitely got to be on there. We spoke, for anybody who was in the preamble before she started talking, I talk about this. It's been mentioned every single year. No, we haven't had triple lock. You're right. Not that, unless I've chatted over on top of it. You know, you get those emails that are like these in the reels and memes on the internet, like should have been an email. I feel like sometimes with these numbers, it could have been an email or a graphic. Yeah, Orange. I don't know. It sounded a fairly serious comment as well. He said, "No hate, serious question," and that was the question. But apart from employing quite a lot of people,
25 times.
it's weird the things they take credit for, though, isn't it? Really, there is a lot of shots. I feel like we should do something more non-drinking responsible. I don't know what you do. 10p to a charity every time. Not sure how much support there would be. Productivity again. Pizza, yeah, you could do that, couldn't you? Well, it's interesting, actually. We could get into discussion about whether you could expense shots in the office. I think that depending how you did it, that there is definitely a chance that is possible. Depends if it's in the office. Subsidized canteen, perhaps. Trivial benefit, perhaps. Weirdly, the reason why you're having the shots, I think, would be the decider. Yeah, everyone can cheer. We can cheer for the NHS reducing waiting lists. I'm down for that. Problem with a client meeting is it wouldn't be tax deductible. So it depends if you're looking for a tax deduction or not. Hope anyone who wants to sit through this later and reads the chat alongside alongside the video. Yeah, I explained to the HMRC investigating officer, well, we needed it to make it through your budget speech. Sure will work, definitely.
Oh, it's time to move on now.
Yeah. Blame Conservative, another go on the bingo sheet. Yeah, I do remember that. Libraries in secondary schools is an interesting one, just as a side note, in a digital age. I'm a big reader, so I do like it, but unsure about the long term of that. Come on, income tax. Income tax. Income tax.
Oh,
Oh, into pensions. No, we've not heard that so far, Toby. I think everyone presumed that was coming. Pensions are one of those things, as you grow up, you just never imagine you'd be sitting thinking about for a job, right? Sounds like something old people were interested in. Bo, did you ever think you'd be sitting around watching, being interested in pensions?
Yeah.
She says, yeah, she's just lying.
Yeah.
She doesn't think she's getting one.
make pensions sexy again. That would be the best comment ever. Here we go.
I think shorts just likes the idea of shot in for
Yeah.
everything. It's like, they've said we shot. Sure, the farmers are pleased to hear that. A lot of those around, weren't there, earlier? Oh, AI efficiency.
There.
Yeah. 18,000 in AI savings, as an 18,000 headcount. Do you know what, though? You might actually get better answers from HMRC on an AI agent. I don't know if you guys have talked to ChatGPT in voice mode, but it's crazy how good that sounds. At least you better get through on the phones, right? Yeah, I think we're going to end up having the income tax soon for sure. Conservative decline. Bingo. Doesn't look like we've got a budget doc yet, have we? I don't think we're there much on utilities yet either, actually. Normally that's this. Would the cost be VAT deductible if the shots consumed during a meeting with a client that sold alcohol? Depends what it was. If it was just random shots, then no, because you'd be entertaining and the VAT's blocked. I'm just thinking about, in a weird way, if the person that sold the shots was giving you an advertising sample, there might be a chance that it is at their end in this random hypothetical example. But generally, yeah, you buying shots is not going to be a thing. The business, your limited company, can definitely do it though. It's just not a tax deduction for it. That said, there's some outline benefits, because if you imagine if you bought it from your money in your own pocket, you'd have paid corporation tax and dividend tax to have the money in your pocket to go buy the shots. Where if the limited company is buying it because you're at a business meeting for the meeting, then okay, there's no tax deduction for it, but it's not your funds. You're not paying 2 lots of tax on it, basically. So it's a slight benefit. Oh, fraudulent business owners. Surprisingly high stat, actually, about the amount of unpaid corporation tax that happens. I don't wish debt collectors on anybody, but I do think there is a world where tighter collection wouldn't be a bad thing. I think particularly in the area where you have people who don't file anything from Companies House and it gets struck off and dissolved, doesn't legally exist, and they've never filed a tax return in their life owing tax. I think that definitely needs to be tackled. And if anybody's been following the channel through the COVID years, you'll know how much the lack of regulation around bounce back loan money and furlough fraud that was done during that time irked a lot of what I call proper business owners. Hopefully they are going to go and find some more of the people. The problem is trying to recover the money when it's already gone. Probably doesn't work out very cost effective. Ooh.
Dear.
£400 million back.
Wow.
Yeah, the bounce back loans annoy me because the chances are they've been written off, and there were plenty of people who just should never have had them. Companies that were dormant claiming them. I think it was 8 clicks back in the day. You could get 50 grand in your account if you had a limited company. It was unreal, and I hope they track them down. I still blame part of the rise of the property market for the amount of people that inquired about setting up a property business with a 50k bounce back loan that they had. They should never have had. Good old heckling today in there. Okay. Wrong Conservatives again. Okay, this is interesting. So we're into benefits. Okay. Well, let's hope so, if we can afford to employ them. So interesting to talk about rising youth inactivity for the reasons we just said. This 18 to 20 cost of employment is crazy. Big fan of apprenticeships, big fan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so small cost of training free for under 25s. Very good. Give you an idea, in our industry, it's £2.5 grand a year for the course to send somebody in just to study 1 year. The level 7 apprenticeships are the ones that are been scrapped, though, and I don't know if there's any commentary on that. I don't know how far that extends, but level 7 apprenticeships are things like if you're a fully qualified ACCA accountant, something like that. That all got whipped earlier in the year, so be interesting to see the detail. Alistair, it's interesting. We come across loads of people actually in our game that do want the apprenticeships. I think more and more people are becoming disillusioned with the university route. That it's like, what do we do next? I think the challenge is how many employers treat it like they should, because obviously some people look at it as this idea of you have somebody for a year, cycle them through, pay them no money. Not really the spirit of the system, is it really? Oh, in the trade. Yeah, no, the trade. I could see that. Surprising as well. I love a bit of trade. And we do a lot of trade clients, and such a good skill. Good money as well, especially in a world where AI and services are eating a lot of stuff up, or potentially. Electricians, right? That's the thing. Figure out how to wire people's electric car batteries and computer centers or data centers. Yeah, that's good. I really think that's a good thing. Free training. Here we go. Everybody's making a contribution. Everybody except certain people. And it's the Conservatives' fault, apparently. Bingo! It was the previous ones that have frozen it. Don't worry that you've extended it as well. Brush over it, brush over it. You ever seen those videos? Oh, hold on.
Oh.
So we're freezing the thresholds for another 3 years. Painful. Could still argue it's the worst, the best worst scenario. At least you know what you're doing. You can plan for it to a degree.
Don't want to actually listen to it.
Yeah, the bit everyone wants to hear. Yeah, trigger. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay. Here we go. Is it everyone? We're going to find out. Everyone in the chat, hold on. What counts as wealthy? So I'm interested. We're going to find out if you're going to address it. Oh, that's just such a bad view on that. No, for real reasons.
Oh my god.
No, it's why it exists. It didn't make sense to charge them all the same. %2 divvies. 2%. What? Because they got less than £1,000 in the bank, probably, of interest. There's a savings allowance. So here we go, 2%. It's going to need some maths done to it. Could have been worse. It's not 16.5. Surprising amount of noise there. Not surprising, is it? Okay. The dividends is plus 2%. Plus 2%. Tell you what. Oh, hold on, let's wait for the council tax. Oh, 2 million, okay. Keep going for these reliefs. I really want to talk on dividends, but I want to hear what she's got to say, because that's a really interesting position versus a sole trade. Here you go, paying into pensions. Good. Okay. Here we go. Salary sacrifice to pensions. Going to get shot down. So if you don't know, this is where you drop some of your salary and you ask your employer to put money in your pension instead. It saves both parties tax. So it brings the overall cost of employment down.
£2,000.
Yeah. See, that was a rumour that did come true. £2,000 cap on that now. Mains is pretty pointless. Johnny, would be interesting to see when the budget doc comes out. I presume for that's going to be the case. I don't think they would normally make that change now. Still give people, wouldn't be surprised, but I suspect that's from next April. Yeah, this is a big one that's got the hotness at the moment, employee ownership trusts in the tax world for selling your business. 50% relief. Yeah, employee ownership trusts are a bit of an oddity. They were really starting to get traction. A lot of sort of bespoke firms that have booted up selling these. All right, here we go. High streets. Business rates, if you're in the world, if you have an office, are incredible cost to deal with. Business rates, here we go. Where's the detail of that though? Because they had a multiplier that meant that they were being like suppressed. It's whether they're extending that or whether they're changing something else. Okay, interesting. That customs thing is quite an interesting one. Not sure what the payoff is to that. I'm just thinking about the administration of it. Such a difficult one, that we've got all these 3p per mile for electric cars. Oh, my plug-in hybrid. Sad times. It's so interesting though. So interesting. You've got all these tax reliefs to put you into buying these things, and then tax on having them. This often happens in the world of tax with limited companies. Actually, they give you great rates to bring them, and then they put the rates up over the years if you own them. Yeah. I don't know, chat. That's an interesting one, that is. I don't know how they're going to police that. That's all the thing is, these things sound great until you work out how much it's going to cost to administer and police it. There you go. Look, we're going to tax you, but we're also going to accelerate the EV charging.
Makes no sense.
You tell me. Talk about VAT there on the taxis. She hasn't said much about inheritance tax at the moment, other than one particular area. Certainly nothing that I think the farmers would be happy about. Refreshing the budget here. I really want to see this doc, because there's certainly some other anti-business changes built in there. It's going to be interesting running the numbers for this. The biggest challenge of small businesses a lot of the time is that we don't react quick enough. So, and for a lot of small businesses, they just don't have access to the data regularly enough to see that there's a problem occurring until it's too late. And again, that's all manageable, but it's just the reality of the world. Oh, remote gaming duty. Oh, if you're in the remote gaming space, that's going to be painful. Did you say 21 to 40? I think she just said. But you're okay to horse race and in-person gamble, though. That's cool, apparently. Wow. Oh, hold on. So income taxes are not moving. VAT's not moving. We've just got the dividend and these other places makes self-employed people really interestingly attractive right now. I don't mean physically, you could be, but I mean from a tax rate point of view. It's interesting she said that, because she did start the speech saying that she felt that the tax system was not right, wasn't, fit for purpose. But actually what she's done is change none of that. It's identical to what it was. The income is still taxed differently for different incomes, which is fine, actually. I think in concept, I think not all income is made equally. But she hasn't actually fixed it. So I'm not sure that was that initial kind of blaming it all on the Conservatives for not fixing it was really worth it. So I think we're getting the benefit cap here. No, Jonathan, she didn't announce anything about the limited company buying bikes. Whether it's buried in the dock will be interesting. Really interested to see this doc. Yeah, so I think the taxis is VAT. It is going to be VAT on the taxis. Basically, it's mainly Uber they're talking about. Uber have had all sorts of problems with VAT on taxis, and we're using it's called TOMS, I think, is probably what they were using, the tour operators margin scheme, to allow them to keep the VAT bill down. So I presume they're going to, that's what they're talking about in this speech. I haven't seen the doc yet, but I'm presuming that's going to be the case. So I think on the tax changes for people, if you don't qualify for some sort of, when you buy a piece of equipment, if you don't qualify for some sort of relief, you get what was known like a full year relief, something called annual investment allowance was quite a common one used. If you don't qualify for some reason, you used to only get a percentage each year, and that percentage is gone down from 18 for many items down to 14 in 2026. So that's quite a jump. It doesn't affect that many people because normally you have another allowance, but where you do, it's quite a hit. Chat are on fire today. Mm-hmm. So this whole section is going to be the benefit cap. Yeah. I'm not sure about the long term. Like I say, we don't give investment advice on this channel, but I'm not sure about the long term plan of the business of making babies. Pretty sure you end up with a cash flow negative over time. Yeah, you just can't salary sacrifice into their pensions more than 2,000 though, so just bear that in mind. Don't pay them in dividends either, apparently. Okay, so there we go. The 2-child limit is gone. I could get excited about that, but mine's too old. It is. I think that one is a really difficult one. I remember years ago being very, very poor and needing it. So you just don't know where people are in life.
Oh, she's getting cross.
She is. She's feeling.
She is now.
This sounds like she's wrapping up. So yeah, that gambling tax. If you're in the gambling industry, 21% gambling duty to 40%. But they're abolishing bingo duty, which is quite funny actually, because we've been joking about bingo this whole time. If only we'd knew. I'm looking for the doc for the extra dividend tax. I think a lot of people had the leaked one, so they've already seen it, but I haven't done the spoilers. Bingo definitely wasn't the bingo card, no. I mean, I would presume April 26, but I'm not sure we can compare things to when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. So it's interesting. Cracking down on rip-off price hikes. Jonathan, that depends on your profits. You could end up with 25%. It's only the first 50 that's at 19. I mean, it's like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, is that used to be 0. Even at 10.75%, it used to be 0. It had a weird system, so it used to count as being taxed, but it was effectively 0 for that same period. But 35.75% when you do start to hit the higher is painful. So here we're talking about minimum wages now, which I started off with. And to me, as a small business owner, when we're talking about growth measures, having your hand forced constantly about the rates at which you have to pay your team is tough. I don't know who's entertaining who. We've got people watching. You guys are more entertained by the chat, right? Absolute bangers in there today. Maybe that is the business diesel taxis. Yeah, I could see it. Could see it. If I steal that for content, I will credit you. Yeah, these minimum wage increases are a problem. They are really a problem. 18 to 20 bracket, 45% increase just under in circa 2 years. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Oh, energy. We did say we haven't heard energy. Bingo. We could do a weekly live stream. Whether anyone would watch it, I don't know. Do some Q&A. Yeah, at the moment, they said they haven't removed the relief that allows you to make an employer's contribution into your pension scheme as a director, which is, I think, would have been really, really difficult for them to do, because it would be the same rules if we pay into pensions for these guys. it would make no sense that we wouldn't be able to get a corporation tax deduction for them. And a lot of directors in bigger businesses are employees, the same as everybody else. So I think it would be difficult for them to sort it out. So they haven't removed that. That's still in play, which is good. What they've done is they've changed the scheme that was effectively you and the employer decide that you're going to take, say, a 10k pay cut, and that 10k is going to be put in as extra contributions in your pension because it saved you both tax. So that's now been capped at 2,000. So if you're in that world, that's going to be painful. Particularly, I think if you're in that horrible limit at about 100 to 125,000, where you could have effectively a 60-odd% tax rate, depending on what you're claiming, and student loans, children in childcare, that kind of stuff. So could bring you into that. No, everybody's got an annual cap they can do in terms of what they can pay into the pension. So, but directors and employees are the same. So you can do the same thing. Yeah, I'd be interested to see if this inflation they're talking about is going to maintain now, carrying on with what we've just seen in from April next year. These rises in, particularly for retail, 18 to 20-year-olds, 18 to 20-year-olds. See, she says she's reforming the tax system, but I don't think there's any reform in here at all. There's no reform. There's a tweak in a couple of rates. That's it. It's still got all of the things that she was speaking about is actually still in play. Self-employed people still are taxed less now, particularly now, than employees. And again, you can put a strong argument to why that should be the case, but that is the fact. And your limited company owners now with the extra dividends could be interesting.
Yeah, right. Just going around it.
Order. Several people getting named in the house today. Name and shame. I love this approach. Name and shame. Yeah, Nomad. Yeah, I mean, if you're taking exactly the same, you are. I mean, if you just took, say, you took £37,700 worth of dividends, which you might well, an extra 2% on that's about 750 quid if I'm doing my maths right. So, and of course, you're likely paying payments on account for the next year as well. So it's 750 quid plus half again up front. So, wow. But we do need to see some of the details just to see how it works. So there we go. That is where we're at. What do we think then, people? For me, the big things in there were, from a business point of view, obviously we're going to be doing a lot of content looking at the impact on all this, but there's a couple of things in there. Minimum wages, as we said, I know I've rambled on a lot about that, but minimum wages I think will be the biggest impact to a lot of small employers, just because the knock-on effect of the cost on the team and what it does to their bandings and everybody above them is going to be huge. So we've got that. On a good front, we've got corporation tax hasn't moved, so that's staying the same. So we've got some things okay there, but dividend tax has moved by plus 2%. The docs at the time I'm talking to this, I haven't seen the doc yet, so I presume it's April 26th, but of course it could be later depending on what's happening. They mentioned that if you couldn't get something like annual investment allowance when you buy new equipment and things like that, you would end up with a reduced rate of tax relief for those things. It's something called WDA. In fact, for most small business owners, you normally only see this where you're selling secondhand things to the company, or you've got a car, for example, that's not electric. Those kind of things, you would have these allowances, and they're slowing that down. That's in there. If there was a few things, there's a VAT issue on taxis, but for most small business owners, it's probably a pro thing because it's really the Ubers of the world that are using a scheme that was probably not designed for what it's being used for. But we did see salary sacrifices cut on pensions. Again, for most small business owners, they're not really going to make too much of a difference. But for a lot of bigger businesses, they will have these things in place that is going to up the cost of employment. There were some talks about so in terms of the rumours that actually came true, there was effectively a cut to ISA limits, but it's not as it's not as necessarily drastic because the way they've split it. We just got to see the details. They did do the salary sacrifice change. They didn't cut the VAT threshold. They didn't change the income tax other than around a couple of areas, which is going to be painful for people. I think landlords get an unnecessary hit on this as well, just as a side note, because I think people, I know there's no sympathy for landlords unless you are one, because you understand how this works. But for many landlords, it's actually sometimes a cash flow negative to own the property because of the way the tax works. I can't draw it here because the setup I've got for you. But if I show you how it worked, is you stack all the income up and get taxed, and then back down at the bottom of the calculation, they then say, but your mortgage interest, we'll give you 20% tax relief on that, effectively. But you're paying 40% possibly up here. So sometimes you're actually having to put cash in to pay the tax bill. So adding more tax to that is not going to be good for landlords. And of course, what they're going to do, they're unlikely to sell the property. They're just going to put the rents up. So I'm not convinced that that's necessarily helping anybody, but hey ho, if we're going to raise it, that's how we're going to raise it. So it'll be interesting to see how the impact on inflation happens. The thresholds are going to be frozen. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. So a lot of these rumors did actually come true. One that didn't was the NI hike. There was a rumor for national insurance people to see their national insurance rate equalized with employees. So employees pay 8% at the moment and self-employed people pay 6%. And that was only recently, it was like one of the last things the Conservative government did is change those rates. So it would seem odd to reverse it, but they didn't do that. And they didn't change the way partners and partnerships are worked. And I suspect some of that would probably be down. Some of these things sound really good until you practically have to put them into practice and police it. So that hasn't happened. So all in all, it's not great news. I don't think any of that's good news. I certainly think that there's still pressure, because the problem is if you're involving people and you're employing anybody, which a lot of small businesses do, it's really, really difficult. And if you're thinking of employing somebody, that cost of that first employee is massive. Give you an example. If you had employed an over 21-year-old 2 years ago, so the beginning of 2024, they were 22% less cost than they were. So now they're the best part of £6,000 more expensive a year. So your average small business is about 500 quid, just under a month. That is costing you to have a full-time, I'm calling full-time 36.5 hour a week, a full-time employee employed by your business. That's a lot of money for a small business, particularly if that's your first employee, and that's minimum wage. So obviously the person coming in is going to be like, well, I think I'm worth more than minimum. But over the years, we've come to understand that minimum is, like a minimum. Now these days, it's a pretty attractive wage. I mean, it's like what the total cost of employment is probably about 27.5 grand by the time you add it on. Remember, you got to pay pension, you got to pay employers' national insurance, all these things. It's quite an expensive thing to do. So to become the next employer and the next small business that's employing people is really difficult. And if you're in the high street, a lot of people will be in and around that age, particularly, again, and I've talked about it a lot, these 18 to 20s. So they would be my big concerns from it. From a tax planning point of view, we'll certainly be doing some content on it, but we've got to have a look at the plus 2%. How does it affect it? Is it still a good idea? Because I could show you an example now where we took £40,000 income and we put up a sole trader and we put up you taking the same amount of money from a limited company. And I could show you before these changes that the sole trader would look less money, but that's factoring into account many things, like you're going to take all of the profits out that you might not. You haven't got a significant other that you can use some allowances on. You're not going to use all the different allowances that are in a limited company and a lot of other stuff that normally means that at £40,000, quite often people still are seriously considering going limited for tax reasons, amongst other things. But this 2% moves that needle again. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's have a quick look at the comments then, before we may start to think about leaving you. Got any good ones, guys, you want answered?
Someone's asking how my appraisal goes off the back of me constantly laughing.
Yeah, we'll find out. Oh yeah, I'm your line manager. It's probably me that needs to do it, isn't it? I love HR. Yeah, they'll be interesting. I've switched it off because it's hard to hear, but you're right, Kemi will certainly, I think, bite back in there. On, can we do this for the Grand Prix? I do like the Grand Prix. Again, though, can you imagine? I mean, it was difficult to do the budget where there's loads of silences and we're all listening to it. Imagine the Grand Prix, we're like that. Oh, and they've crashed. I don't know. What do we got? Issue housing in this country is also, yeah, it's just tough. It is tough property ownership. I mean, we've got several landlords, not more than several landlords, but a lot of landlords and people involved in property on the books and property developers, and it's weird. If you're in that world, you understand the problems, and it's not like that. Don't get me wrong, there probably are some evil landlords that want to, squeeze every penny out. But in my experience, people just raise rents because they have to, because mortgage rates went up, and there's not enough cash in the deal to pay the tax bill on these things. In fact, but this is the biggest sell up I've seen over the last couple of years. Is people exiting quite a lot on these kind of properties in our world. I actually brought in a petrol. Yeah, I'm interested to see what this new per mile charge, how that's going to be practically worked out. But yes, the dividend tax rate is, from what we're seeing, is going to go from, in the basic rate, it's going to go from 8.75 to 10.75, and that means further up the chain, like the next lot will be 33.75, turns into 35.75. So yeah, it's going to be pretty big. Stamp duty, I don't think got mentioned. Did you guys hear a mention for stamp duty?
No, I don't think she did.
No.
She did a brief summary of what she hadn't done, but I don't think that was mentioned in there.
Yeah, so we didn't see anything on that. So in actual fact, yeah, the majority of rises is going to be, yet again, I think, employers and people taking dividends. So some maths is going to be done. I don't think at 2%, this is without having done the maths, I suspect at 2%, you probably won't change anything. You'll probably just do what you're doing already. If you're already a limited company, because the cash flow downside of having to pay for your tax and national insurance every month is going to be a problem, I think. So we should be there. Any final questions from anybody? Firstly, thanks for everybody for joining this. I know it's a really weird. It's the first time we've done a live like this. If you have enjoyed them, let us know. We can always do more in different formats. And I appreciate that I've snivelled all the way through this, and B, just in case. I mean, or Becky, I don't know if I've told you.
And we need dominoes and bingo cards.
Yeah, dominoes and bingo cards next time.
Sounds like the fun next time.
And also that there's lots of areas of silence because we're watching the same thing that you're watching. So question wise, have we got anything finally? Obviously hit like and subscribe. I should mention that, right? Got to pretend like I'm a YouTuber. So no NI raises on the self-employed, which is great, really, really great. For self-employed people, it's actually consistently got a bit better over the years. I've felt that for a while. There's a real, it's just the making tax digital problem you've got. If your turnover is going to be over £50,000, then you've got this extra admin coming for you. Weirdly though, if you're new now, you don't actually have to worry about that, because the way it works, you have to submit a tax return, then see that you're over £50,000 turnover, and then you get into the following tax year. So if you're new now as a self-employed person, you've actually got a bit of time before you've got to worry about it. But I would still recommend going and finding yourself some software. Xero would be our recommendation. I know we did a bit of a chat on that earlier. Somebody did ask me if we're doing a video on that. We might do. We compared 7 different ones the other day. We've certainly got some strong opinions about it, but there's the market for accounting software is quite close. Is it more payroll, less dividends? We'll do the calcs.
I think that needs some maths.
Yeah, we'll definitely. This first thing we're going to do when we walk away from here is go and stick it in some spreadsheets. My gut feeling would be it probably stays the same, because the employer's national insurance. It depends on if you pay employers' national insurance and things like that, but I think that the maths may stay the same. VAT threshold, no changes, which is good news for those people that were worried about it. I think everybody is a bit confused as to whether this how this mileage from the EVs is going to be sorted out. Run a small creative agency. Would you be up for a chat with regards to marketing, creative comms? Let's see. Who did Rachel Reeves is being called incompetent? You say?
Yeah.
Oh dear. I run a small creative agency. Would you be up for a chat regards marketing, creative comms? Don't know what you mean there. Do you mean you want to do creative comms for us? She mentioned the VAT threshold? Yeah, VAT free agent. We've got free agent fans in here, Ella. Ella's a free agent fan. And no, VAT didn't. A lot of people were really worried about that VAT, but no, it didn't.
Buy the guys some pizza. You see that there?
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
So if we were going to do it in the most tax efficient way, we would do it as subsidised canteen, which means we need to offer it to the entire team. Becomes quite pricey at 40 odd people.
Limited to 1 slice per employee.
Yeah, we'll do 1 slice per employee because we're watching our waistlines. So, yeah, we'll sort that out. Right. Any final questions? And if so, what's that? GoFundMe could be a thing. Could be a thing. ClearBooks. In all honesty, I did test that. That's one of the 7 that we tested recently. I just don't think it stacks up against the other ones, in all honesty. I just think there's so many things that just don't exist, or it's not quite as user friendly. It's all right though. If you're in it, you're in it. But if I was going to choose, it wouldn't be one of the ones I would choose. I think I had it ranked 6th or 7th actually. Just £2 a month. Yeah. Cool. Nomad. It's more that we've already got existing suppliers. Really appreciate the thought, but yeah, we've got a great team of externals that work with us on those kind of things. You could appreciate it. What else have we got? Yeah, a lot of love for the VAT threshold. No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys watch the videos. It's one of those things that when I started out, I didn't know any of this stuff, and we don't teach you at school, so we always wanted to put the videos out just to make sure that people had an opportunity to learn. I think accountancy particularly as well is quite a dry subject, and when I started recording them, I wasn't quite the stereotypical, older overweight accountant, but I'm getting there now. Luckily, you can see these guys behind me are far from that.
Luckily, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah. What do we got? Live streams before the self-assessment deadline. Could do. Could do. Yeah, Toby, thanks for joining us. As always, I'm sure everyone would like to check out Toby's channel if they're interested in investments and the stuff we can't do. So cheers, Toby. Good to see you. Yeah, they didn't change the 45p a mile. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that rate's been here probably like 15 odd years. In actual fact, since you've been involved, Becky, has it always been 45p?
Yeah, I've never known any different.
Yeah.
It's been well over a decade.
I think I did it once. I think I had a in the early years. I think it might have been 40p. I remember when it went up to 5p. Cool. Agree for you. Yeah. I mean, 45p a mile is crazy, isn't it? Really. Right. We'll go for a couple more minutes. If anybody has got any random questions, let's see if we can answer them. If not, we'll bail out. But if you do want to see these things again, just let us know. The key takeaways for small business owners will be it sounds like a parrot from the last one, really. If you're an employer, it's painful because you're being forced to change your bandings and you're forced to change a lot of things that are, yet again, not in your control, particularly for 18 to 20-year-olds. Dividends has gone up 2%, so that's going to be expensive for you. There wasn't, until I see the document, I can't see what the change to business rates was. That was mentioned. Business rates is horrendous. Example, the building we sit in, we pay 25 grand a year just because we're sitting in it, goes straight in business rates. We still pay service charges. So there's no services or anything. It's all just a tax. And, that's somebody's wages, isn't it? Or part of their wages. So, and if you're a bricks and mortar store in the high street or something like that, it's incredibly difficult. There's only so many coffees you can sell to cover those rates. So be interesting to see what happens there. That was mentioned. But aside from that, it was quite a stable, hold fast budget. It didn't have any real crazy ones. It's just the cost of employment continues to be bad, which I think will ultimately push inflation up. So Scotch and Stocks, glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for participating as well. Some banging chat in there. What does property income by 2 points mean? I'm going to see the budget document. I would presume they've just put the tax rate up to like where it would be 20% is now 22%. But until I see the doc, it hasn't been clear yet. It's one of the downsides of streaming. I haven't been able to digest it. The mere £500 dividend allowance is still there. Yes, we shan't get too excited about it, but it is there. Crypto assets weren't mentioned actually. Yeah, I would have had crypto on our bingo card, but we didn't have that. We did have bingo. We didn't have bingo on our bingo card, but we did have bingo mentioned, which is quite cool. VAT threshold again, no change. Big old room in that one, but not at all. Cool. Any final questions? We'll knock it off at 2 because I'm sure you guys have got some business to do today, and these guys behind me definitely have some work to do. I've got to go and probably write some content to talk about this. Actually, is what will be the next thing. Yeah, I really wanted the actual content streaming in a window, but YouTube will shut you off because it's copyrighted, which is a shame because it would make it far more interactive if you guys could listen at the same time we could. Because otherwise it's just a lot of it is, I think particularly with the budget speech, there was a lot of fluff in this one. So there's a lot of just like listening in. Would you do a video with this new change or something? Yeah, I mean, actually there's a video this Sunday, frustratingly, that's, oh no, there's not. No, there's not. So there's a video this Sunday that is going to be or even maybe Saturday, depends when it's coming out. Just trying to think what that one is. But I'm writing one actually at the moment talking about all of the ways that you could take money from a limited company, which I'm glad this come out before I did that, because there might be some small tweaks to it, because I like to try and draw them. If you've seen any of the recent stuff we've been doing, I'd like to try and make some drawings, but there will be some for sure. There's a video before Christmas that will be talking about how to take money out effectively, efficiently. We've been making a video going through the budget, but yeah, I mean, for sure. We'll also have, like today, I'll have on our website, we always do a blog. Sometimes, weirdly, the blog is there before you see some of the other content, because we'll write a blog and then turn that into video reels. If you follow us on all the different socials, it'll be all out there. Probably be some reels made over the next few days as well. Savings allowance and ISAs. ISAs had a tweak to them. Again, we didn't see the budget docs, but it sounded like it was effectively a 12 grand cash limit and an 8 grand other limit. But it was spoken very quickly. So, but I think there's been a small tweak to that. Savings allowance sounds like that's not moving. And yeah, tax on the gambling was online. So they went from 21 to 40% on the online gambling, but they said they're getting rid of bingo tax, which got quite a few people interested. So yeah. We actually love Christmas in the office. So I think Christmas jumpers could be done. We had a Christmas tree competition the other year as well. Any final thoughts from you guys then?
Well, I'm just having a quick glance through some of the documents. Essentially, the tax rate changes to the savings and income tax and the property income tax actually kicking in April 2027.
2027?
Yeah, but dividend tax does change from April 26.
Oh, there we go. So dividend tax is April 26. There we go. No, again, VAT threshold stayed after all that. Really weird. It very much felt like we had a load of PR beforehand saying we might do these scary things, and then went, yeah, we're not going to do any of those. The reaction was too bad, so we'll leave it alone. But yeah, that's all good. Cool. Well, guys, I think that's it for us. So thanks for everybody. It's been really cool. It's been fun to do, and I really appreciate all the chat in there as well. It's been an enjoyable experience doing it all with you all. So if you do want to see any more of this, let us know, and we'll see what we can stream. But until next time, we'll see you all later. Have a good one.